Welcome to our 17th Wonderspace journey that orbits around wonder and stories of hopefulness. This week our journey takes us from the UK to the borders of Turkey and Syria, and sharing these views with us from this ultimate window seat, we welcome Joe Murphy and Joe Robertson, who are actors and playwrights and the founders of Good Chance. I first met Joe and Joe 5 years ago on the refugee camp in Calais in northern France, and I think what they and their team have created and developed since then is truly remarkable. The Wonderspace podcast is the place to find the full-length 20-minute orbit with Joe and Joe, which I think is so inspiring and honest and at times hilarious. This can be found on most podcast platforms. But for this video orbit, Joe and Joe answer one of our 6 questions in a way that we think will blow the fuses. The question is, give us a glimpse into your life story so far.
Joe and I met at university, and after that we moved to London and tried to learn to write, but it was really an experience abroad in a very strange place that brought us close together, and I think probably made us realise what was happening in the world for the very first time, which was when Joe and I went to Calais, to the jungle, which I don't think we understood in any way at the time. We had no real contact with people who'd been forced to migrate before, and I think we were imagining that we were stepping into some sort of exceptional moment, a moment that was unusual. Since then, it's become very clear that migration and forced migration is not unusual, not exceptional. But back then, it seemed to be the case. And we arrived in this place, the jungle, of 10,000 people from 25 different places, many, many different languages, cultures, traditions. It was a jungle, that's the most accurate way of describing it. And people were struggling for food, for shelter, for warmth. Christmas and the coldness of that time of the year was coming. And we decided that it would be a good thing to build a space for lots of people to be together. And that was the idea initially, and that was all it was. We'll just build a space. And once we built it with lots of people, and my God, that day was amazing when together with people from so many different countries, we built a building together, and it got up and the roof got over, and we all decided that it made sense to call it a theatre. And we programmed it for 7 months together. We saw plays from Iran, we saw dances from Eritrea, we saw Iranians attempt stand-up comedy for the first time. I mean, we saw the whole gamut of what this world has to offer culturally, and we saw it take place in one building. We thought that those 7 months were going to be exceptional, that they wouldn't happen again. But since then, we've built an organisation that builds those theatres in many different places. We've called the theatre Good Chance, and they're domes, beautiful domes that feel democratic and open to everyone. We've built them in Paris, in London, New York. We should have been in Tijuana on the border of the US right now, actually. But for very obvious reasons, we're not. But we will be, because there are ongoing problems there. And it's been an evolution that has been full of surprises, really difficult surprises, because the truth is that we're a company that don't really want to be in existence. We don't want to have to be speaking to people and helping integration happen between different communities. We wish that could happen completely organically, but it doesn't. And Good Chance exists, I suppose, to show artists that we can be helpful in situations like that the kind of gregariousness, the naivety, the fun that artists have is a really essential tool in bringing communities together in this world that we live in.
Yeah, we've worked with some absolutely amazing people, some amazing artists from all over the world, and our experience of working with people who've been forced to flee their homes is not of people who need help, although there is a need for shelter and food and medicine in the places we work. Actually, our experience is of people with incredible skills, incredible artistic traditions, and absolutely vital things to say. that demand to be heard, and I suppose Good Chance builds the stage and the platform for those artists to hone their craft and to say what they need to say. And actually this year we're going to embark on our most ambitious project yet, which is in a way the culmination of all of the last 5 years of work since our first days in the jungle. And we're going to go on a walk from the border of Turkey and Syria all the way to Manchester in the United Kingdom, and we're going to walk with a young girl. She's called Little Amal. She's based on a character who is in a play that Joe and I created with lots of people from the jungle. She's from Aleppo, she's 10 years old, and the only difference between her and the many hundreds of thousands of unaccompanied kids who've fled into Europe over the last 5 years is that Amal is a giant, 4 metre tall, beautiful, bold puppet. She's created by the amazing artists at Handspring, who made Warhorse, and she's brought to life by this team of puppeteers from all across the world, some of whom have made that journey themselves, some of whom are from the countries that we'll stop in. And the provocation of the walk is, this girl is walking through your town and your village and your city. How do you welcome her? And we've made that provocation to big theatres, opera houses, arts organisations, puppet companies, but also schools and mosques and churches and all aspects of civil society. And we're going to stop in every place and celebrate with the people we meet. And it's a real opportunity to bring communities together, as Joe was saying, to unite communities, to create a sense of international solidarity at a time when I think we're more divided than we've ever been, and a bold way of reclaiming the idea of welcome, because human beings do welcome pretty well, and we should celebrate that.
Chérie, je m'adresse à toi. Avec toi, chérie, la vie est belle.
You can find out more about Good Chance and the walk at goodchance.org.uk and walkwithamal.org. To find out more about Wonderspace, join the community or listen to the previous 16 interviews, the website is ourwonder.space. You can also subscribe to the Wonderspace podcast, where you will hear our guests answer all of the 6 questions. I want to thank Joe Murphy and Joe Robertson for kicking off a new year of Wonderspace. And I hope you can join us next week for more wonders and stories of hopefulness.